The bridge didn't just crack, it screamed. Steel twisted like paper, concrete groaned under impossible pressure, and in that single horrifying second, Caleb Foster realized two things at once. Someone was going to die, and he was the only one close enough to stop it. He didn't think. He ran. Before we dive into what happened next, take a moment. If you truly believe in kindness, second chances, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stories like this deserve to be heard. Caleb Foster wasn't a hero. At least, that's what he told himself every morning as he struggled to get his 8-year-old son, Oliver, ready for school while juggling overdue bills and a job that barely paid enough to keep the lights on. Life had hardened him, but it hadn't taken away his heart. That evening, Caleb was driving home from a long shift at a small auto repair shop just outside Denver, Colorado. Oliver was asleep in the back seat, his small hands still clutching a toy car Caleb had fixed for him earlier that week. It was moments like these, quiet, fragile, that kept Caleb going. As he approached Ridgeway Bridge, something felt wrong. Traffic had slowed to a crawl. Drivers leaned out of their windows, confusion spreading like wildfire. Then Caleb saw it. A section of the bridge ahead had begun to sink. Not collapse entirely, but enough to send a ripple of panic through every vehicle on it. And right in the center of that danger was a sleek black car, stalled. Its hazard lights blinked weakly, as if even they were afraid. Caleb's heart slammed against his chest. He could turn around. He could protect his son. No one would blame him. But then he saw movement inside the car. Someone was trapped. "Stay here, buddy," Caleb whispered, gently brushing Oliver's hair before stepping out of the truck. The air felt heavy as he ran toward the failing structure. Each step echoed with urgency. Cracks spread across the asphalt like spider webs, and the sound of metal snapping rang through the night. "Hey!" Caleb shouted, reaching the black car. "Can you hear me?" Inside, a man in his late 50s struggled with the door. His face was pale, eyes wide with fear. "It's jammed," the man yelled. Caleb grabbed the handle and pulled. Nothing. The bridge groaned again, louder this time. "Move over," Caleb barked, grabbing a tire iron from his belt. With one powerful swing, he shattered the window. Glass sprayed everywhere, but he didn't stop. "Give me your hand." The man hesitated for only a second before reaching out. Caleb gripped him tightly, pulling with every ounce of strength he had. The man was heavier than he looked, and the angle made it worse. Behind them, a section of the bridge gave way, crashing into the river below. They didn't have time. "Come on," Caleb roared. With one final pull, the man tumbled out of the car and onto the unstable surface. Caleb didn't wait. He grabbed him and ran. They barely made it. The moment they reached solid ground, the rest of the bridge collapsed behind them in a deafening roar. Dust and debris filled the air, and for a moment the world stood still. The man collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. You saved me," he whispered. Caleb shook his head, trying to steady his own breathing. Anyone would have done it. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. Sirens filled the distance as emergency crews rushed toward the scene. Caleb slipped away quietly, returning to his truck before anyone could stop him. Oliver stirred as he got in, blinking sleepily. "Dad, what happened?" "Nothing, buddy," Caleb said softly. "Everything's okay." Not really. Because the man Caleb had saved wasn't just anyone. The next morning, Caleb was woken by a sound he'd never heard in his quiet neighborhood before. Engines. Not one. Not two. Several. He pulled back the curtain and froze. Black SUVs lined the street. Men in suits stood outside his modest home, their presence sharp and deliberate. Neighbors peeked through windows, whispers already spreading. "Dad?" Oliver asked, rubbing his eyes. "Stay inside." A firm knock echoed through the house. Caleb opened the door slowly. "Mr. Caleb Foster?" one of the men asked. "Yeah, you're requested to come with us." Caleb's stomach tightened. "For what?" Before the man could answer, another voice spoke from behind the line of SUVs. "Because I owe you my life." The man from the bridge stepped forward, now dressed in an immaculate suit, his presence commanding yet oddly warm. "My name is Victor Langston," he said. and I believe we have a lot to talk about. You're the guy from last night. Victor nodded. And you're the man who risked everything for someone you didn't even know. Caleb shrugged slightly. Like I said, anyone would have done it. Victor smiled faintly. No, Mr. Foster. They wouldn't have. Inside the house, Oliver peeked out, his curious eyes taking everything in. Victor noticed him immediately. Is that your son? Caleb nodded. Oliver. Victor crouched slightly, offering a gentle smile. You have a brave father. Oliver grinned. I know. Something shifted in that moment. Something deeper than gratitude. Victor stood and looked back at Caleb. I built my entire life believing money could solve everything. But last night proved me wrong. It wasn't wealth that saved me. It was courage. Caleb didn't know what to say. I want to help you, Victor continued. Not as charity, as respect. Caleb hesitated. I don't need handouts, and I don't give them, Victor replied calmly. I invest in people who deserve it. Days turned into weeks, and Caleb's life began to change in ways he never imagined. Victor offered him a position, not in some distant office, but within one of his automotive companies. He saw Caleb's talent, his integrity, his work ethic. For the first time in years, Caleb felt seen. But the real change wasn't financial. It was emotional. Caleb started believing in something he had almost lost. Hope. Oliver noticed it too. You smile more now, he said one evening. Caleb chuckled softly. Yeah, I guess I do. Challenges still came. Adjusting to a new world wasn't easy. Doubts crept in. People questioned his place. But Caleb faced it all the same way he faced that collapsing bridge, with courage. Because he wasn't doing it just for himself. He was doing it for Oliver. And for the man who believed in him. Months later, Caleb stood on a rebuilt Ridgeway Bridge, now stronger and safer than before. A small plaque had been placed near the entrance, in honor of the man who reminded us that true strength lies in selflessness. Caleb shook his head when he saw it. He didn't feel like a hero. But maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to, because sometimes being a good man is enough. Before we reach the end, I want to ask you something important. If this story touched your heart even a little, don't scroll away silently. Like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more stories that remind us what truly matters. And tell me in the comments, would you risk your life for a stranger? Caleb looked out over the horizon. Oliver's hand in his. Life hadn't become perfect, but it had become meaningful. And sometimes that's even better.